All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're cracking open one of the boldest visions in the entire world of digital finance, XRP's roadmap to 2030. We're talking about some absolutely staggering numbers being thrown around, and we're going to break down exactly how anyone arrives at them.
So let's just put the big number right on the table, $16 trillion. Now, this isn't just a number plucked from thin air. This is the target. It's the total value of tokenized real-world assets that Ripple and its proponents see living on the XRP ledger by the end of this decade.
And here it is, straight from the source, Ripple's own projection. They're talking about a leap from $1 billion in tokenized funds, which, by the way, is already happening, to a colossal $16 trillion. You know, that's not just growth, that's a fundamental rewiring of finance. The scale is just, it's hard to wrap your head around.
Which of course brings us to the core question of this whole thing, how? I mean, really, what's the logic? What's the tech? What's the grand strategy that could possibly support a forecast that massive? Well, that's exactly what we're here to unpack piece by piece.
Okay, first things first, we have to pop the hood and look at the engine, because to have any chance of understanding the future vision, you first have to understand the machine that's supposed to make it all happen.
You see, all of these huge predictions are built on the foundation of one piece of technology, the XRP ledger, or the XRPL. Its unique design is the very reason its supporters believe it's the right tool for the job, especially for the high-stakes world of institutional finance. So, the secret sauce of the XRPL is its consensus mechanism. It completely skips the whole energy-guzzling mining process. Instead, it uses this network of trusted independent servers called validators, and for any transaction to get the green light, at least 80% of them, a supermajority, have to agree that it's legitimate.
So what does that actually look like? Well, it's this super fast four-step dance. You send a transaction, the validators check it against the network rules, they propose adding it to the official record, and as soon as that 80% threshold is hit, bam, it's confirmed. And when I say confirmed, I mean it's permanent, locked in forever. And the crazy part? This all happens in about 3 to 5 seconds.
And the cost for all the speed and finality? The base fee starts at just 100,000th of a single XRP. We're talking about tiny fractions of a penny. This is so cool because it's basically free for normal use, but the fee is designed to automatically ramp up if the network gets busy, which makes it way too expensive for anyone to try and spam or attack the system.
Now, when you put the two approaches side by side like this, it really clicks. You've got the XRPL on one side, built for speed, efficiency, and near zero cost. On the other, you have proof-of-work systems. They're designed for a different purpose altogether. The XRPL was purpose-built from the ground up to do one thing really, really well: move value at the speed and scale that big financial institutions need.
Okay, so that's the engine. We get it. It's fast, it's cheap, it's efficient. But how does Ripple actually plan to steer this thing toward that $16 trillion destination? Let's look at the blueprint. The whole strategy really boils down to 4 main pillars. First, keep expanding their existing payment system, which you might know is on-demand liquidity. Second, bring in smart contracts to open up a whole new world of applications. Third, and this is the absolute monster, is to become the go-to platform for tokenizing real-world assets. And finally, to position XRP as this neutral go-between for all the different central bank digital currencies that are coming online.
And this isn't all just going to happen overnight. It's a phased rollout, kind of like a set of dominoes. The plan for 2026 is all about boosting payment volume and getting early smart contract features out the door. Then, 2027 is about setting up the first pathways between CBDCs. By 2028, the push is for real mainstream adoption, all building up to that 2030 target, where the demand is driven by the sheer utility of having all those assets on the ledger.
But, and this is a really, really big but, none of this gets off the launch pad without one absolutely critical event. The entire roadmap, all of it, hinges on getting final, clear-cut legal status in the United States. Analysts all point to this as the key. It's the de-risking moment, the big green light that tells major institutions it's safe to jump in with both feet.
So, you've got the tech, you've got the strategy, which brings us to the part everyone wants to know about, the price predictions. And this is where things get really interesting, because the numbers range from pretty conservative all the way to, well, let's just say astronomical.
What you're looking at here is a summary of forecasts from a bunch of different analysts, and you can see a pretty clear trend. The general consensus is a steady climb, breaking into the double digits by 2030. And notice how each year's target is directly tied to a milestone on that roadmap we just saw. things like payment volume, CBEC adoption, and getting that regulatory clarity. But then you see numbers like this, over $18,000. Now, where on earth does a number like that come from? It comes from a specific type of financial model that stops treating the XRP ledger like a crypto network and starts treating it like a pipeline of value, almost like a global utility. This is the valuation you get if you assume it successfully captures trillions and trillions of dollars in real-world assets. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's the perfect dose of reality we need right about now. As this community member points out, these kinds of models are basically perfect world scenarios. They assume everything goes exactly right, which, well, it almost never happens in the real world. It's a theoretical ceiling, not a promise. So, let's talk about those imperfect conditions. The path to $16 trillion is, not surprisingly, loaded with some major hurdles and risks that could slow things down or even throw the whole vision off course.
There are really 4 big ones to watch. First, even if the US picture clears up, you could still have a messy patchwork of rules around the world. Second, the competition is absolutely fierce. You've got other blockchains, plus the traditional financial system itself is upgrading to fight back. Third, getting big banks to adopt new tech is notoriously slow. And finally, the XRPL's own governance system, that 80% agreement for upgrades, could actually make it slow to adapt when it needs to be nimble.
So after walking through all of that, the technology, the grand strategy, the massive range of possible outcomes, what's the real takeaway here? What should we be focusing on? Honestly, the crucial point here isn't whether XRP hits $18 or $18,000. It's about a much bigger, more fundamental bet on the tokenization of everything. This whole roadmap is really a giant bet that the world's assets, stocks, bonds, real estate, you name it, are eventually going to live on blockchain rails. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. It isn't, what will the price of XRP be? The real question is this. Is this massive shift in global finance, the tokenization of trillions, actually inevitable? And if it is, who's going to build the digital rails that the entire system runs on? Now that is the $16 trillion question. Thanks for tuning in.